Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the X3 Mystery GP here today, and the wheel landed on Paul Ricard, the French Grand Prix, which of course is not on the calendar anymore in real F1, but the track is still in the game, which means that we are here today in France, which you absolutely love to see. So I bet the drivers don't have all that much experience on this track, which is going to make it a little bit more interesting. Going to probably see some incidents, slower lap times than usual, depending on how much everyone has practiced on this particular track. So I've got a couple of cars leaving the pit lane now, as everyone just sort of sets up their setup and starts to head out onto the track. And there is the Alpine, the French car, on the French track here at Paul Ricard. The blue and red stripes all around, of course. Well, let's get our lap data and track map enabled. Bit of an interesting line there on the outlap, of course. Plenty of runoff here at Paul Ricard. And lots of variations of this circuit that you can have. In my opinion, F1 has used the worst one. I prefer that back straight just to be completely empty, but there is a chicane in the middle of it. As you can see, Daniel's just approaching it here on the outlap. But completely skips over it, of course, which you can do on F1 23 on the outlap. So, 15 drivers with us here today. Fresh does have a quali ban in the Ferrari. But the first person to start flying lap is going to be Daniel as he heads around the big hairpin of Sector 3. Hello, Spartans. Welcome to the Switch chat. How are you? So here we go then. Daniel, French engine, French car, about to start the first flying lap of qualifying. 15 minutes left on the clock as he empties the taps and opens up the DRS down the main straight here, heading towards turn 1, which is a left-right chicane here as we see him turn in. I'm not all too familiar with this track, so we're just going to sort of have to watch and see what the drivers are doing. Of course, lots of curb to be able to use on this track. All the curbs very oh, bit of lag there. All the curbs pretty flat and pretty big. Lots of runoff, so you can really maximize your use of the track as much as possible. Second DRS zone down the back straight towards the next set of corners. The chicane, which breaks up this long straight. There's a Williams in his way. He's going to get out of the way. Hits that bollard, I think. I don't think that's going to invalidate his lap. But it might have unsettled the car just a little bit now. Into Sector 3, finishing off the back straight. And now a flat right-hander towards the big hairpin at the back of the track. Here we go. Flat towards the first part of it. And then go wide. Turn in again. Such a long and wide hairpin that you take a different line to what you normally would in a smaller and tighter hairpin. But now, rounding the final few corners of the track, there's the pit entry on the right-hand side. Final corner now. DRS opens up to cross the line and set the first time on the board. It's a 1:30.2. So, I'm not all familiar with ideal lap times on this track. So we're going to have to see what other drivers are going to be able to do. Like the other Alpine here of Charlie has just set the fastest Sector 2. And was 200ths quicker than her teammate in the first sector as well. So it's looking good for Charlie now as they round the hairpin towards the final few corners. This is going to be an improvement and probably take the fastest lap of qualifying so far, beat their teammate, and Sen the Grey in the Aston Martin, who is the second person to put down a time, as well as Hey Tony in third in the Alfa Romeo. 1 second, 1.5 seconds off the pace. But here comes Charlie to cross the line and goes fastest by 0.4 of a second. 0.4 and 200ths of a second there. 0.42 is the gap between the two Alpines at the top of the timing sheets so far. Let's have a look at the Ferrari. It's just about to cross the line. That is Nick. Where is Nick going to put himself up on the board? It's third fastest. Not quite the pace of the Alpines just yet, but only 200ths shy of Daniel. Let's have a look and see if we can get a full lap here. That is the Haas, who has invalidated. And in fact, everyone else out on the track has put down a lap here. So we've got 7 drivers with a lap on the score sheet. Zytix is the slowest of the lot in the Red Bull. And the two Alpines looking strong so far on their first run of qualifying. No one yet to beat them. A couple of people in the pits here. And I'm not sure that's where the racetrack is there, Mr. Haas driver. So another invalidation for him. Let's have a look at Spartans here. Setting the fastest sector 1 of the lap of the track so far. Hey Tony goes fastest in the Alfa Romeo with a 129.7, so that has bumped down both Alpines a position, but now down the back straight and into the chicane goes Spartans and heading towards Sector 3. Let's take a look at the Sector 2 time. It's fastest, and it's fastest by 0.2 of a second compared to Tony, so we're definitely seeing some improvements here as they head into the huge hairpin. Barely any braking done there. And now rounding the final few corners of the lap. Here we go. Final 2. Do a short 180. Into another 180 to round the final corner. Get on the power. Quite a lot of wheel spin there. But here to cross the line, the Alfa Romeo is going to go on provisional pole for now. So it's both Alfa Romeos bumping down both Alpines. It's 1-2 Alfa, 3-4 Alpine. Fastest lap of the race was just set by Spartans, 1:29.614. That's the time to beat with 8 drivers having set a time. We've still got quite a few people in the pits, of course. Fresh has a quali ban, so we're not going to see him leaving the pits, and that is the Aston Martin getting a 5-place grid penalty for collision with someone. So are we going to see a custom grid here tonight? Just depending on the circumstances, we'll have to leave that up to the EXA moderators. But let's have a look at the Williams here of Swift Hawks. Heading round that hairpin at the bottom of the track now. And let's have a look at the sector time. So 22.3 and a 27.8 are the sector times for the Williams as they're around the final corner. Short shifting to get as much traction as possible with the DRS wide open. Dancing towards the line, 4th fastest. For the Williams, 1:30.2. So they split up the Alpine, who were previously 3rd and 4th, and now 3rd and 5th, both of them either in the pits or on an out lap. And Nader actually splits them even further, bumping down Swift in the Williams up down into P5 and brings himself up into P4 there in the Haas. Very strong lap so far. So we're starting to see the ideal lap time so far, but we're going to see some more improvements as the track starts to evolve, as the grip starts to get put down. And Nader actually just put down the fastest sector 1, presumably on an in-lap. He's only got 6% left of his battery, so going to be heading into the pits, but nonetheless still set a fast, very fast sector 1. Okay, let's have a look at the McLarens now. This is one of them heading down the back straight into the chicane. This is Alexis. Goes a little bit deep into that first corner of the 3, and now back onto the straight. And Pool Diver is actually retired from the session. I believe he might have a collie ban, not too sure, but that is Alexis setting the fastest Sector 2. Sector 2 is only really compromising of about 4 or 5 corners. Most of it is straight, so lots of straight line speed on that McLaren today. And so they're heading around the final few corners of the lap here. Actually saw a bit of throttle and braking round those final few corners on the telemetry. But now to cross the line with the DRS open in a couple of seconds and see where Alexis goes on the board. It's second fastest with a fastest Sector 3 as well. So the Sector 1 wasn't the fastest, but the final 2 sectors were absolutely flying, and only 0.07 of a second off pole position. Welcome Pool Diver to the chat. Finally, Fave comms. Well, welcome in. It's going to be dry and rain in the race. Thank you very much for that information. Lovely insight there from Pool Diver, who has retired. Anyhow, retired from the session. So that is Daniel in the Alpine invalidating, currently sitting in 3rd, was the first person to put a time down. And it was a very fast time for the first person to be going out. But there you go, invalidated so far. Let's have a look at EXA Rowley League owner in the AlphaTauri here at X3, heading towards the back straight and is now on the back straight. 22.554 is the first sector time for EXA Rowley as he heads into the chicane, breaking up the back straight here. And back onto the back straight, and then he's going to have a flat right-hand kink. Fastest Sector 2 of the lot here for the AlphaTauri driver as he heads round that flat right-hander and towards the big hairpin, pretty much flat out for the first half of it, and then you slow down as you reach the apex to get back on the power immediately, and then it's a sharp left-hander, some sweeping fast corners towards the final 2 corners of the lap. Very tight hairpin at the end. Oh, goes a little bit deep on the exit and almost gets track limits. Had to slow it down. It's not going to give him a good exit towards the line, but he's only going to go 8th fastest. So, fast Sector 2, but it looked like that 3rd sector he struggled quite a bit. Okay, let's have a look at some more drivers. This is Spartans in the Alfa Romeo. Ooh, that is a snap of oversteer as he just slams his foot onto the throttle, exiting that corner, and yep, into the pits for Spartans. Not happy with that run. So, 4 minutes left on the clock in qualifying. Pretty much everyone is in the pits, apart from EXA Rowley and Mr. Bean, who I think are both on in-laps. No, Mr. Bean, actually, might be on a flying lap. And let's watch that flying lap as he heads towards the flat right-hander and then the big hairpin. I'm going to call it the big hairpin because I don't know any corner names. There you see, turning in flat out. Such a wide track here at Paul Ricard, naturally. Plus the fact that the apexes are very, very, well, the curbs are very, very flat and there's lots of runoff. Makes it for a lovely sweeping track here. Final 2 corners for Mr. Bean. So just a small amount of wheel spin on the exit there, but now he comes to cross the line and is 12th fastest for the Mercedes. So we've got 13 drivers who have put down a time so far. Currently on pole with 3 minutes left is Spartans in the Alfa Romeo, followed by Alexis in second, holding down the front row for now, then it's Daniel, who was the first person to put a time down on the board in this session, is now currently in third. And if we bring our attention all the way down to the bottom of the grid, we have Chaz, who has not set a time yet in the Mercedes. And then Crazy is just above him, slowest of the lot so far, with a 1:30.9. So, quite a bit off the pace, 1.296 off the pace there for the McLaren driver, followed up by Mr. Bean, who is a second off the pace. So, plenty of time to improve for our bottom runners. And, of course, plenty of time to improve for our top runners as well, as the track is going to get more grippy now. Lots of the drivers have put the rubber down on the racing line. So with 2 minutes left off quali, we're going to see a couple of drivers starting to head out on the track. You can see it there in the bottom right. Those little dots on the minimap, of course, indicate the drivers who are starting to warm up the tyres around this French Paul Ricard circuit. So the time to beat for now is a 1:29.6, but I'm sure we're going to see some improvements here in the final runs of qualifying, as everyone's sort of just piling up together a little bit round at the end of Sector 1 at the top of the track and heading towards the straight. Everyone just sorting out the order of which they want to be going in amongst themselves mutually, and maybe a bit aggressively as well. As, do you want to go first? Do you want to go last? Leaving the gap between the driver in front and the driver behind. So who is going to be the first person on a hot lap? I believe it's going to be Daniel. So we will watch Daniel. First person to put a time down in the session. First person to start their final flying lap in qualifying as they round the final corner now. And press the power down and open up the DRS down the main straight. That's the timing line now. So final lap of qualifying starts now into turn 1 and straight into turn 2. Fast left, right chicane now towards the final 3 corners of Sector 1. Lovely lines there. Small lockup maybe. Just exiting the first sector now. Look at him using all of the track there. If you keep at least one wheel within the white lines, you keep your lap valid. So down the back straight towards the chicane that breaks up this long back straight. Of course, a different layout means that that straight could just be the entire way down. And so we've got two people who have not been able to improve. That's Nader and Mr. Bean there, not making the checkered flag in time. But we're now watching Daniel head towards the hairpin at the bottom of the track here at the Circuit de Paul Ricard. And now into Sector 3. 3 more corners to go for Daniel. And Alexis has actually set the fastest Sector 1 by 0.07 of a second. But, in fact, everyone's improving in the first sector. Our top 3 are all improving in the first sector. So, Daniel crosses the line. Is he going to go faster? 29.5 is now the time to beat. So, let's see. I think that's Alexis about to cross the line on the minimap now. Alexis goes faster. 29.445. So, the Alfa Romeo fans and the Spartans fans. Oh, that's not a good exit for Spartans. I was going to say they're hoping for a good exit down the line, but a lot of wheel spinning, a little bit of oversteer. That might have cost him. As he crosses the line, no improvement there for Spartans. Gets bumped down by his teammate, Hey Tony, who brings it up into second with the fastest third sector of the lot. 7, 8, 9 drivers who have finished. Here comes EXA and Rolly to cross the line and finish qualifying. And finishes in 10th. So, it is Alexis on pole for, I believe, is the first time this season. So a lot of people in the chat saying, final 2 corners, that is where they bottled their laps. Rolly saying ball the 29.2. And Charlie saying they bottled the last corner. Lots of people... we saw a lot of wheel spin and bits of snaps of oversteer exiting the final corner. So it is Alexis on pole, followed by Hey Tony in the Alfa Romeo, finishing up the front row. Then it's Charlie in third and Daniel in fourth. So it's an Alpine 3-4 at their home race, taking up the second row, followed by Spartans in fifth, Nick in sixth. So now it's time to get on to the race. And of course, congratulations to Alexis. First time they're on pole this season. And in the Mystery GP2. So, the drivers just setting up their setups, making sure their strategies, they're all happy with the strategies. And then we will be racing here in France. Of course, Paul Ricard not on the circuit in the real-life Formula One calendar, hasn't been for quite a few years now. Of course, wasn't there for the 2023 and is not here for 2024 or 5. So, according to Bull Diver in the chat, we're going to have rain at the very end of this race to add just that bit of a twist on this race. So, is Alexis going to be able to get a good start, hold it down, and hold their nerve in the rain? We will see. All to play for here tonight in France. Just waiting for the final players to load in, and here they are, and here come the lights. All 5 of them illuminated above the drivers. And now as the lights go out and everyone gets away very quickly and very briskly, Alexis gets a good start from Tony, who is closely following up behind. That's an Alpine and the Alfa Romeo battling into turn 1. Alexis has gotten away very well. That is Spartans running wide and almost overtaking his teammate off the track there. Not what sure is what going to be said about that, but Charlie making up places. Lots of people losing places there. That is crazy, moving all the way down the order. Lots and lots of lag. Holy crap. And lots of drivers off the track there. That is a Red Bull going wide. Absolute chaos here at the back. And that is crazy all the way down. 3 seconds off the pack. Not sure what happened in the back there, but it looks like the Red Bull of Zytix and Crazy in the McLaren came out of the worst. But, so it's a McLaren at the front and a McLaren at the back of this grid. Alexis got a good start and is now leading the pack down towards Sector 3 now, towards the fast hairpin. Here we go. So, it's the McLaren of Alexis holding down the 2 Alfa Romeos of Spartans, and Hey Tony closely followed up by Charlie. We're already seeing a 0.8 gap being built between P1 and P2 within the first lap, but it's all about this exit onto the main straight. Want to minimize wheel spin as much as possible. This track can be sometimes hard on the tires, especially around that fast hairpin at the bottom of the track. But there you go. First lap of the race completed, and Alexis is leading. So we've got a bit of action in the midfield here. It's actually a position change at the top as well. Both Alfa Romeos swapping at the bottom of the podium positions. And look how close Charlie is following behind these 2 Alfa Romeos. And the Haas driver just behind. So, Hey Tony is... Oh, he's going for it. Side by side with his teammate towards the chicane. Gets ahead using battery. And he's just about ahead, but under braking. That is Charlie all over the back of Spartans. And Nanda is also there, actually overtaking Charlie at the exit. And now on the hunt for Spartans. So very strong performance here for the Haas driver. Maybe trying to go down the inside of Spartans at the hairpin. Not going to be able to make it stick. Had a little look, but nothing came of it. And this has brought Charlie very close behind these two now. As Alexis still in the lead. 1.3 second gap between themselves and P2. All is to play for these final podium spots. Those are the tyre strategies. It's either soft, medium, or medium hard. And Crazy still catching up to the back of the pack. 2.6 between himself in last place. So it's still the McLarens sandwiching the rest of the group, as it were, at the top and the bottom of the timing sheet. But we're looking at this battle between P2, 3, 4, and 5, as when they were heading down the back straight, it was very, very close, but DRS has been enabled. And that is the detection point. All of the drivers driving through now. You can see the white line on the track there. So now, everyone within DRS from P1 all the way down to P15. So, Hey Tony actually closed up that gap to Alexis pretty quickly. It's now half a second. No, it's not. It's telling me it's half a second. It's clearly not half a second. It's 1.5 seconds. Not sure why it says 0.5, but ignore that gap. It is absolutely incorrect. By the way, let's have a look at the tyres while we can. So Alexis starting on the softs, while most people opting for the mediums. Nanda actually on the softs as well in P4 and chasing down Spartans, getting very, very close. And we've got a couple of runners on the hard tyre at the bottom of the grid, but Zytek's the outlier from the bottom 5 or 6 on the medium tyre. So, Alexis pulling away well. 1.3 is the gap. They've got their battery saved up just that little bit as well. They've got to keep that gap over 1 second so that they can get out of threat of DRS. There you go. The interval has just finally updated on F123. So I want to conserve their battery and the tyres. They're on the softer tyres. They've got 20% use on their tyres, actually, does Alexis, compared to Hey Tony's 13% and Spartans' 15%. And Nanda, all behind chasing them, is on the soft tyre as well. He's got 18% wear on his tyres. So he's in the DRS train, as is pretty much all of the drivers here, apart from Alexis and Tony and Pool Diver and Chaz. Those are the very few drivers, and Crazy as well. Very few drivers not within DRS, but here goes Nanda with the battery down the inside towards that right-hand kink, and he got ahead. For some reason, the camera angle was just not showing us the driver that we wanted to, but he did get ahead of Spartans, separating the Alfa Romeos temporarily. Apparently, we're going to have rain towards the end of this race. That is the rumor. There's a yellow flag. There's a yellow flag. Why is there a yellow flag? What's going on? Charlie off the track. Many drivers off the track. That was what has happened there. It was a yellow flag just after the hairpin. I can't tell what's going on. That is Daniel heading into the pits now. And has he got damage? Let's have a look. Into the pits goes Daniel in the Alpine. And is there a new front wing? There is a new front wing for the Alpine. So clearly some contact there between himself and maybe Charlie. Charlie had to take evasive action off the track. So Alexis is still out in the lead. 1.1 seconds is the gap as they cross the DRS detection point. Mr. Bean, 10-second penalty for corner cutting. So quite a big corner cut. Of course, you can chop off quite a bit of this circuit if you wanted to, and is actually in the barriers there. Not sure if there's any damage on that Mercedes. The end plates are still there. And, well, the yellow flags are gone. Nothing of it just yet. But now, back to the battle up in the front. Spartans actually lost out a couple of places during that yellow flag. Is now down into 5th. He lost out to Charlie. And so actually, let's have a look at this. So it's interesting. Charlie is at the front of this pack between P4 and P8. Well, let's say P4 and P6. They're all pretty close together. Closely followed by everyone else. But our top three have managed to jump off quite a bit. 3.8 is the gap between Charlie and Nanda, and then it's 1.2, then it's 0.7 actually. So Hey Tony now has DRS on Alexis and is getting closer by the minute. So those soft tires starting to fall off a little bit for Alexis. 31% is the tire wear on those softs. Hey Tony's mediums have 21%, but he only has 29% of battery compared to the 90% ERS that Alexis has. So Alexis has the battery to hold off an attack from the Alfa Romeo when needed. Hey Tony with DRS down the main straight towards the chicane that's going to split up this back straight. We've got a yellow flag at the back. That's EXA Rolly motionless on the track at the end or the beginning of Sector 2. And look how much closer Hey Tony is here after that chicane, hitting into Sector 3. He's so close. Alexis sticks to the racing line, confident that Tony's not going to make a move into that flat right-hander, and he's even closer now, heading into the hairpin. But once again, no defensive line there from Alexis, and just keeping the pace of the McLaren, letting the pace of the McLaren keep Hey Tony at bay. It's also giving a chance for Nanda to start to catch up. Also has very little battery. Everyone been fighting very, very hard in these first opening laps. It's lap 6 of 27. That might be a track limits warning there for Nanda. We just saw all 4 wheels go over the white lines. Another yellow flag. What's going on? Not too sure. Let's have a look. Spartans, by the way, it's dropped down all the way down to P12. Mr. Bean getting as many penalties as he would like. And we're seeing a bit of action in the midfield here that we're riding on board with Nick chasing down the Red Bull of Zytix, who is also chasing down Chaz in the Mercedes round the top of the track into Sector 2. And let's rejoin the battle for the lead, because I want to see how close. Oh, we've missed it. We've missed it. Hey Tony actually managed to get ahead of Alexis before the DRS detection point, which has brought Alexis very, very close to the front of Hey Tony. We didn't see that happen. And now Alexis on the back foot with the worst soft tyres, 40% wear on those soft tyres for Alexis, being chased down by the other soft tyre runner on this Grand Prix in the Haas. And now is Hey Tony going to be able to start running away with it towards the end of this stint? Those soft tyres going to start falling off pretty quickly. And Hey Tony's got a little bit more life left in his, but he hasn't got a lot of life left, or a lot of charge left in his ERS, 14% to Alexis's 79. So with DRS and maybe a little bit of a helping hand from the battery as well, Alexis is going to get a lot closer to Hey Tony down this main straight into the first 2 corners, which is a fast left-right chicane here. And as long as Alexis manages to stay pretty close round these next 3-4 corners, get the good DRS detection, and then it's going to be rear wing open and launch another attack to retake the lead of the race. Nanda is biding their time, maybe trying to recharge the battery a little bit here in these next few laps. And has a great view for the battle, which is about to come. Let's ride on board with Alexis, not using that much battery actually, but gets so close, looks to the inside, decides against it into the chicane. You get the feeling with a bit of battery use, Alexis could have got past Nanda. So close as well to these two. Our top 3 separated by 0.8 of a second now as we head towards the hairpin. That first half of it is pretty much flat in qualifying, but now with those older soft tyres, they have to apply the brakes. But Hey Tony looked like he went a little bit wide there. Mr. Bean getting another 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. Not sure what's going on there. That's about 30 seconds worth of time penalties. But looks like Hey Tony went a little bit wide at the hairpin, which cost him some time. between himself and Alexis, but Alexis on all the soft tires is going to struggle to get a good exit out of the final corner. And now, with DRS, is still managing to make up that time into turn 1. 0.27 was the gap, but once you exit the corner, it's gone back up again because Hey Tony has the tire advantage. 50% wear on Alexis's tires compared to Hey Tony's 33% on the mediums. So, at the top of the track, Alexis, almost full battery. Hey Tony, barely anything left. So with DRS now open for Alexis. Not using any battery, but getting a lot closer. Looks to go to the inside, but once again gets super, super close to the Alfa Romeo, but doesn't have a sniff at getting ahead at the apex and getting the overtake done. And yeah, sorry, it's the game that's lagging. I'm going to just give it a go at changing it. I don't know why it's lagging. Hopefully we don't miss anything. Otherwise I'll be really annoyed. Okay, we're back. Bit of a lower quality in the graphics, but hopefully this is going to fix the lagging issues as Alexis struggling to get... It's not fixed it at all. Struggling to get a good exit here against Nanda. Sorry, against Hey Tony. Obviously, there's going to be more grip available on those mediums as we're on lap 10 of 27 here at Paul Ricard. So we're almost halfway home to the checkered flag. Quite a long track, but also quite a fast track. So the laps are getting done quick and the race is going very quick as Alexis approaches the 200-mile-an-hour mark with the DRS open. And what has just gone on there? A kerfuffle of lag, but Alexis has taken the lead into the chicane with DRS. Got him past Hey Tony and back into the lead of the race. Started on pole, lost out in lap 6, and now is back up in lap 10 on the top of the timing sheets. Now, Hey Tony going to be under pressure from Nanda, but is going to have the helping hand of the DRS if they stay within 1 second in this final sector of Alexis in the McLaren. So, when are we going to start to see P1 and P3 head into the pits? Both of them on the old soft tires. Are we going to see Alexis head into the pits now? No. 60% wear on Alexis's tires. It's a miracle how they're staying on the road here. They're not going to get a great exit. And that's going to put Hey Tony really, really close to him and towards the right-hand side and the outside into turn 1. Hey Tony gets ahead just before the corner and the braking zone with the DRS. That is surely Alexis' sign to head into the pits. Struggling to get a good exit. And what can you do? And that is Mr. Bean crashing and just doing his own thing, causing yellow flags. So, Hey Tony leads. Hey Tony leads? What? And now Alexis is leading. I take my eye off for 1 second, and the lead changes twice into the chicane with DRS. Once again, we see Alexis retake the lead for the second time. Hey Tony was leading at some point, but it was very short-lived, and the McLaren regains it. But they're just struggling to get any sort of exit. Let's have a look as we head towards the faster corners at the end of the track. The gap go from 0.3 to 0.2 almost immediately, now down to 0.1. Actually, it's gone back up there on the exit. So, obviously, the exit out of the low speeds is going to be Alexis' downfall, like the final corner. So, when are we going to see the soft tire runners pit? It's not yet. Alexis, if they can make it work with the soft tire all the way to the point where they're pitting in the same window as Tony, it's going to be a great advantage for them. But that is Charlie heading into the pits there on the medium tires first of the lot to head into the pits. Actually, Daniel was the first person to pit in this race, but that was for a new front wing. So Charlie pitting early on lap 12 of 27, almost halfway into this race, as I'm surprised Mr. Bean hasn't been disqualified yet. He has about a minute's worth of penalties. So towards the back straight we go at 150 miles an hour, exiting the corner towards the back straight. That is the DRS wide open for Hey Tony as he switches to the inside, and is he going to get ahead just before the braking zone? Yes, he is. Slots himself into the racing line and into the chicane. Once again, we see the lead swap again. So these drivers have been trading leads in that chicane down the back straight. You know, you can use the first DRS zone to get just that bit closer. And then the second DRS zone to really just launch yourself. It's longer. It's faster. It's a heavier braking zone. It's easier to overtake. So we're going to see them start probably trading leads again. Unless Alexis pits. 71% wear on those tires. Yep. There you go. Risking a puncher at that point. 60 kph is the pit speed limiter. Nanda stays out and is chasing down Hey Tony. So Alexis, second person to pit in this race. On the soft tires went a lot longer than we would have expected, but now we're starting to see the mediums fall off just that little bit. Hey Tony on 50% wear. There's a yellow flag somewhere, but it's gone now. And where does Alexis come out of the pits? It's going to be 11th place for Alexis, leaving the pits now. So when do our current top two head into the pits? That is the question. They want to be recharging their batteries now. You know, Hey Tony, 20% battery. So he's been pushing super hard to keep up with Alexis and overtake Alexis. And that means he's not going to have much battery left for this second stint. That is a yellow flag. I presume that's Mr. Bean. Being Mr. Bean. Yep. Anyhow, we're watching our race leaders. Now are we going to see the Haas head into the pits? Look at them slide out of the hairpin. Surely that's your cue to head into the pits. Yep. Into the pits goes the Haas driver. So now we should watch Alexis and compare where they come out compared to the Haas of Nanda, dropping down places and dropping down places. Here comes Alexis into the final corner and is gonna get past with DRS as well. Past the Haas driver and maybe even make up a position on Sen the Great. There he goes. Bye-bye, Aston Martin. Have a look at my rear wing, says Alexis in the McLaren as Charlie puts down the fastest lap of the race. 1:32.796 is now the fastest lap. First of the pitters was Charlie, now on the hard tyre. Alexis now on the mediums and setting the fastest sector one. Charlie might have to say goodbye to that fastest lap, as Alexis in the first sector is absolutely flying a 10th faster. And now towards the chicane down the back straight, braking just before 50 meters, getting it turned in. Lots of curb being used, of course. And let's have a look. That's Spartans in front, 2.5 in front. Nanda came out 1.4 behind Alexis. Managed to dispense off Sen pretty quickly. He's now going to be chasing down Alexis. And that is Tony heading into the pits just now. So it's going to be a race against Alexis and Hey Tony. So Nanda and Alexis just rounding the final corner now. Hey Tony in the pits, gets passed by both of them. As you can see him there on the right-hand side of your screen, just getting past the 80 km/h pit lane speed limit. So he comes out right behind Nanda, 1.6 seconds between them. And, of course, Alexis has 7 drivers in front of them that need to head into the pits at some point and is very, very close to Spartans, who is holding up Alexis just that little bit, which is causing Nanda to get very close. But now with Battery and DRS going to slide past the Alfa Romeo, and there goes Nanda down the inside as well towards the chicane. Who's going to be last? It looks like Alexis is in front round the outside, and now their teammate is in ahead. Are they going to be too much in the way and let the Haas have a little opportunity at taking the position? Alexis manages to dispense of their teammate pretty well. So does Nanda. So both of them managing to get past the 2 drivers who haven't pitted. Well, 2 of the drivers who haven't pitted yet. And now this battle is very much on for what is going to be the lead of the race once the 5 drivers in front of them pit. So now this is Nanda, 0.25 away from Alexis. Both of them currently sitting P6 and 7, as we see Fresh and Chaz and Crazy all head into the pits, which is going to bump these 2 up a couple more places. Hey Tony following behind, and isn't following behind. Well, what is falling behind are the frames per second on the game. You absolutely love to see it. Or not see it, really, should I say. Anyhow, so now 0.3 second. Oh, what has happened there? Alexis ghosting. Is that lag? What is that? Now they're ahead of Nanda. I'm so confused. Am I lagging? Like, what is this? But now Nanda has DRS on Alexis. Moves to the inside. Gets ahead towards the braking zone. They manage to slot themselves into the racing line to take these 3 corners and gets up track position on Alexis. All this fighting is starting to give Hey Tony just a bit of extra oomph to be able to catch up. They're losing time to Hey Tony, who is actually on the soft tires. Going to have to make those softs work for 11 laps, my friend. Very bold strategy, but I think he knew that the rain is coming. Look at the sky. That does not scream sunshine and rainbows to you, does it? So, Tony taking a risk, banking on the fact that we're going to see rain towards the final few laps, and it's going to be wet enough for intermediates at the least. So, Hey Tony on the soft tyre puts down the fastest lap of the race as well while he was at it. 1:32.1 for the Alfa Romeo driver. So, has he read this just right? We can actually see a couple of other drivers, Fresh and Chaz, on the soft tyre as well. Maybe reading into the fact that we're going to see rain and you're not going to get your full stint on your tyre that you would have done originally. So you might as well go to the softs. As, by the way, Nanda managed to get past Nick, who is very much holding up Alexis just that little bit. 16 laps on those hard tyres. But now with DRS and battery, Alexis is going to make up a place and get back to chasing down Nanda, who managed to build up a little bit of a gap, and that is Hey Tony also chasing down Alexis and getting ahead of Alexis into the chicane. Down the inside, of course, the soft tyre is going to have a lot more grip. Only 2 laps of age. And Alexis has just left the session. What has happened there? Have they just disconnected? Their car has ghosted. So the person who was on pole here at X3 has just disconnected. Their car, you can see, ghosted, transparent, translucent. And yet, just to confirm, in the X3 chart, they say they lagged out. So, not sure what has happened there, but anyhow. Now the race is on between Hey Tony and Nanda. Alexis rejoins the session, now 4 seconds behind their opponents. And has definitely got to get a bit of a move on. When are we going to see them take control? Not just yet. Still translucent. But let's have a look at Hey Tony on the softs. 1 second away from Nanda. When is the rain going to start to fall? Hey Tony wanting it to come pretty soon. He's gone on the softs for a reason. Actually, looking at it, both of the Williams staying out for as long as possible. They're anticipating the rain. They don't want to head into the pits. Both of them 70% wear on those tires. 17 laps they've been out on. But if it doesn't rain enough, what are they going to do? That is the question. Does it rain? It's been predicted that it is going to rain. It's looking very cloudy, but I'm not seeing any drops just yet. With 10 laps left of this race, 1.1 is the gap between Nanda and Hey Tony. The two Williams in front of them have not pitted yet. I assume that they're both trying to stay out and see when the rain comes, and when it does, fit the intermediate tires. And just for reference, the fastest lap of the two Williams is a long way behind the fastest laps of these two drivers on the fresher tires. So, Hey Tony, not quite in DRS range of Nanda, who is not quite in DRS range of the Williams, but now they are into the slower corners there. That's where the soft tires are going to become a big culprit now. So, Hey Tony doesn't have DRS to keep up with Nanda, who has DRS on the race leaders. Now going to go down the inside of the Williams into the chicane, under braking, fresher tires, better grip, moves himself up into second, is now going to chase down Pool Diver in the other Williams now. Not much battery left, but he's using as much as he can to go down the inside of this flat right-hander, and he makes it work, of course, with the newer tires. Takes the lead of the race in the Haas. And now he's just going to be praying that we don't get any rain. The rain would technically be working in Hey Tony's favor on the soft tires. Means he's going to be out for a longer while the track starts to get wetter, which means he's going to be faster. Nonetheless, down the inside into the final corner on Swift, and doesn't make it work. But now he's going to have DRS and ERS to go towards the right-hand side, which is going to be the outside into turn one. Is he ahead? Yes, he is. Of the Williams, moves himself up into third, and is now going to chase down Pool Diver. 19 laps on those hard tires of Pool Diver. 78% wear. And are we seeing rain yet? I can't tell because the graphics are so low, because I'm trying to stop the lag. But I don't think we're seeing rain. It's hard to tell, but I don't think we are. But here comes Hey Tony with DRS on Pool Diver, who doesn't have DRS and is just going to glide by the Williams. Moves himself up into second. And Alexis, by the way, who started on pole, lagged out, down in 10th, hasn't been able to improve. So now the gap for the lead, 1.8 seconds here at Paul Ricard. 7 laps left. 7 laps and a sector left. And no rain falling yet. Are we going to see a lot of rain, a boatload of rain in the final few laps? That is the question as the top two drivers make their way round the final corner. And Nanda has a healthy gap between himself and Hey Tony, 1.9. Hey Tony on the faster, fresher tires, but actually has more wear on them. Of course, the softs are going to grain and degrade a bit more. And I'm still not seeing any drizzles. Oh, yes, I am. There are the drizzles of rain working in Hey Tony's favor. The gods have answered him. And now it's going to be about getting the tire strategy right. When do you choose to go onto the intermediate tyres as the rain starts to fall thick and fast down the back straight. 1.9 is the gap between Nanda and Hey Tony. Who pits first? When is the right time to pit? It's all about judgment here between these drivers, because the game doesn't really tell you the best time to pit. Sometimes it's a lap earlier, sometimes it's a lap later, or 2 laps. We've already seen 2 people on the intermediates now, which is Daniel and Mr. Bean, both of them towards the back of the pack. So when do our top 2 head into the pits? Struggling for traction there. Hey Tony exiting the hairpin. And not boxing this lap. Our top 2 staying out. Maybe, just maybe, for one more, as a lot of wheel spin happens there. EXA Rowley retires from the session down in 15th. And this battle for the lead is very much still on, even though the gap is 2.3. It's all about how well these drivers can do in the wet and ever-changing conditions, as we see a multitude of drivers head into the pits for inters, and a multitude of drivers getting 5-second time penalties for speeding in the pit lane. So that's going to change up the order towards the back of the grid. But now we're looking at the battle for the front of the grid. Nanda in the lead right now in the Haas. We're going to see him pit this lap. If he doesn't, it's going to be a Ferrari strategy for the Haas, as Hey Tony and the Alfa Romeos, following up 2.7 seconds between them. Those soft tyres have worked exactly as he wanted them to. Just a very short stint while the rain starts to come in. And are the Williams actually going to be in contention here when it comes to... they stayed out pretty late and they put on the inters a bit earlier. So are they faster than our top 2? And how much faster? Currently, the 2 Williams are the furthest up drivers to get... Oh, that's Nanda with a 3-second time penalty, who actually went wide there going into the pit lane. And that was his final track limits warning. And that's put 3 seconds of time penalties on him for the end of the race. So now, this is essentially going to put Hey Tony into the lead, unless Pool Diver here... He stayed out super late. Him and his teammates staying out until almost puncture levels of tyre wear on the Williams. But now they're going to go down the main straight with the intermediate tyres. Hey Tony and Nanda leaving the pits now. So it is a drag race now. Pool Diver comes out behind both of them, but not by a lot. So now, who's got the best idea of where the grip is on this track? Lap 23 of lap 27 here at the Paul Ricard circuit in France. So the drivers haven't got long to sort this one out. 2.2 is the gap between Nanda and Hey Tony. Nanda needs to get that gap up by 0.7, and DRS has been disabled, of course. So that means Pool Diver can't make any extra advantages on Hey Tony. Into the chicane, the 2 drivers go. One enter in, the other exits in. Nanda, 5-second time penalty. Sorry, no, is it a 3-second or a 5-second? One moment. It's a 3-second time penalty, so if Nanda can get the gap, so exactly where it is now, just over 3 seconds, then he could still be in for a win here, as he's about to start lap 24 in a couple kilometers time. In a kilometer's time. And I think we've got a new record, by the way, for the most penalties in an F1 game. F1 league race of 57 seconds from Mr. Bean. So, congratulations as Nanda crosses the line to start lap 24. And the real battle here is now between Pool Diver and Hey Tony. Pull diver got the undercut, essentially, pitting a lap earlier for the Inters. He has an idea on where the grip is. And now it's going to start to attack Hey Tony, but no DRS to make it easier. So you've got to use your battery, and you've got to use all the racecraft you've got to get close and get ahead. You can't have the rear wing open in these rainy conditions as they head down the back straight and into the chicane for the 24th time. .7 is the gap. Pull diver versus Hey Tony for P2 and P3. 0.4 now, 0.3. Pull diver really has pace in the rain and in this final stint. Alexis, who started on pole, down in 10th. And my Alexa just went off when I said Alexis. That's what that noise was. Anyhow. .7. The gap has just gone up there in about one sector between P2 and P3, but crucially, 1 minute's worth of penalties to Mr. Bean. That's not what I was going to say is crucial. Crucially, Nanda has managed to pull the 3 seconds out from himself and Hey Tony. It's actually 4.2 now, 4.3. So he has really got some pace in that Haas. And despite getting the track limits penalty, entering the pit lane, he's so far on lap 25 of 27 on course for the win. The gap has got to stay above 3 seconds to secure it here. This pull diver is chasing down Hey Tony, but without DRS, it's so hard to get more of an advantage on your teammate. Congratulations on Mr. Bean for getting a 65-second time penalty. I believe that is going in the Guinness Book of World Records. Let's actually have a look at Fresh here. Well, had a quali ban. Started last. It was now up in 5th, chasing down Swift. Very good pace here we've seen from Fresh, and is looking good in the rain so far, as we can see on the minimap. Nanda down the main straight, about to start the second to last lap of this French Grand Prix, which has turned into a little bit of a swimming pool, we'll say. There's a lot of rain on the track. It's all about that throttle control and that braking control for these drivers. Keeping it on the track, not spinning out and not locking up. Look how close Fresh is to Swift there down the main straight. It's almost like he has DRS, but Swift gets a 3-second time penalty. So now Fresh has secured that place, as long as he stays within 3 seconds of Swift, which he will do. Oh, there's a yellow flag. There's a yellow flag, and Nanda had spun. Nanda spinning out of the lead just before Sector 2. Has lost it. He's lost the lead of the race, and now the lead has been given to Hey Tony. Nanda completely losing it there, and is now down in 3rd. And that brings Pull Diver up into 2nd, and Hey Tony up back into the lead on the second to last lap. So we say anything can happen at EXA, and anything can happen. Usually, I'm not going to lie, it is a little bit later than that. Usually, you know, final corner, final lap type thing. But, you know, we'll take second to last lap. Unless Hey Tony bottles it here. So here comes Hey Tony down the final, well, down the main straight, where ordinarily you'd have DRS, but not in the wet. Starting the final lap of the race. Pull diver, 2.6 behind. So we're going to keep a close eye. But I think this is a victory lap here for Hey Tony and Pull Diver. Both of them making great recoveries here. Let's actually see how many places they managed to make up. So yeah, Pull Diver making up 12 places. Starting down in 14th. Great recovery from the Williams driver. Managed to get the strategy just right by staying out as long as possible in his first stint. And Hey Tony, with Alexis out of contention after disconnecting, Hey Tony was always up for a good result. He started on the front row and is now going to be finishing at the front of the grid. So here we are. Hey Tony towards a big long hairpin. He's only got about 8 corners left until he takes the checkered flag here in France. And a very miserable and grim day it turned to be when it came to the weather. But it's not going to be a miserable day here for Hey Tony. Pull diver actually just gets a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to change anything. But here comes Hey Tony out of the final corner, racing towards the checkered flag. He takes it here in France for Alfa Romeo and wins the Paul Ricard Grand Prix, the French Grand Prix here at EXA in the X3 division. So congratulations to our top 3. Fresh actually there, making it up into the top 3. Nando with a 3-second time penalty. Fresh gets himself on the podium. Great job there by Fresh, starting all the way down in 15th. Manages to bump himself up just a couple of places into 3rd. So, Hey Tony takes home the checkered flag. Then Pull Diver brings it up in 2nd, and then it's Fresh in 3rd, followed by Nanda in 4th, Swift in 5th, Charlie 6th, Chaz 7th, 8th, Zytix. Nick brings up 9, and then Crazy brings up the point scorers in 10. Then for our remaining drivers, it's Alexis, who started on pole but disconnected and had a rough time ever since. Send the Grey in 12th, Daniel in 13th, and then Spartans rounds out the final runners here as he's about to cross the line now in spectacular fashion. That was very spectacular. Congratulations to Pull Diver as well, by the way. Driver of the day. Starting all the way from the back. And there you go. That is the French Grand Prix. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And I shall not see you tomorrow because I don't commentate X1 anymore. But it's X1 tomorrow. So, I hope you all enjoyed. And I shall see you all next week. Same time next week. Goodbye.